Welcome to the City Invasion guide that we're going to be doing here for Star Wars Galaxies on Entertainers. We are on the attacking side today, and we are at Kieran on Naboo. First thing you need to do as an entertainer, head over to the Imperial Captain at one of the tents out here, one of the outposts, and grab the mission. You will have one under the Entertainer tab to remove fatigue. You have two things that you can do as an entertainer during this time, one of which is to dance and or whatever it is. Your preferred method of skill animating is, I like to play music, to cure fatigue. But at the same time, you can also help build the pylons by taking tools from a trader, and you can basically do both at the same time. You could be making those pylons and curing your own fatigue at the same time, but you're helping your fellow player out by getting those fatigue numbers down quicker by entertaining. This is pretty much what you do during this phase. You have to go back every single time the mission completes. You get 10 ticks before it runs out, and you can see here I've got 2 that are listening to me, myself and this other player. So once it hits 10, that's it. You got to run back, get a new mission, and start it all over again. There we go. We got our tokens. We got our GCW. So now I got to go grab the mission again. I suggest getting an entertainer buff. If you're an entertainer with actual skill points in entertaining and not a combat ent, then you can buff yourself. And I would suggest getting movement speed. That way you don't have to pull out your bike and jump on and off. I find there's usually some lag involved with that. So you can go and get all of that and keep crafting, keep dancing, and make sure you start your skill animating before clicking on a pylon. If you forget to do it, it will interrupt and you'll have to start building that pylon again. Entertainers are still vital to the mission once the combat phase has started. As you can see here, I am at one of the 3 camps on the attacking side. You can still heal people with their fatigue. That way, if they're going to the next invasion, they're already ready to go and they don't have to worry about fatigue. But now you've got a special set of quests, once again, that only entertainers can do, and they help immensely, especially if you're pushing to win the actual invasion. So if we go back over to our spawn points where we built all of our patrols and vehicles, if you actually click on the Imperial Patrol point, you will get a mission. An NPC will spawn, and it's your job to, within 30 seconds, entertain them, and then that starts the 30-second timer again to actually entertain the troops. So you can't get in combat. There's really no chance of it all the way out here, but it spawns a separate NPC. You'll notice once we finish our little quest here, he will have a little buff and he'll go into battle. Once he dies, you can come back and do the patrol point again. So just like with some of the other quests in this kind of idea, once the NPC has been killed, it needs to be redone. But there we go. It is done. He has despawned because now we're getting a better one, and he is done. We can move on to the next one. And if you actually examine it, you'll see there, when you click on it, it will say patrol point entertained, yes. So now the NPC that was there, he is a little bit better than he was before, giving a buff. The quest that most people know about when it comes to the entertaining offense is the quest to rally the troops. You have to get that from your coordinator here. We've got our Imperial Offensive General. So he's over there. You grab the quest. You now have to go and entertain 3 demoralized troops. You'll find them throughout. If you have your overhead radar on, you'll see them as white triangles, depending on how your computer is set up. So we've got a group of them over here. Now it does take a couple minutes for all 3 to spawn. They will spawn in clusters of 3, and then you entertain them by skill animating, whether it's dancing or music. Make sure that you don't move for the about 30 seconds or so. Once they're ready, they will do an emote with the Imperial insignia over, and that's when you can talk to them. If you've watched our video on the defending, it's the same thing, exact same quest, exact same process. You just click on them, you'll have a couple of options. I always pick the absolute top, and the absolute top basically gets them back into the fight. You give them the motivation to continue fighting and serve the Empire. If you were to select the wrong one and maybe tell them, hey, you need to go and do your job or whatever, if it's not the top option, it kind of demoralizes them again. You'd have to restart skill animating in order to get that going. And that's essentially it. There's a number of those guys at the actual camp, and then the rest of them are all within the city. If you fly around, you will find them. You can do the quest. You just have to come back each time to grab the Imperial Offensive General's mission in order to do it. And that's pretty much it. Entertainers have a lot to do on this side of the invasion. They are going to be flying around, driving and whatnot. So if you have a top tier in terms of GCW rank, that would be great, because then you can use your Bark command speeder and not worry too much about it getting blown up, because you will be getting into the city to find more of these demoralized troops to make the most out of your invasion. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching this video on how to be the best entertainer possible at the GCW City Invasions for Star Wars Galaxies.